What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. Got my final Week 1 preview and prediction video for you. I know there are a lot of great matchups in Week 1. Look out for a community post on my channel kind of talking about some of the games that I could not make a video for. I'm so sorry if your team did not get a video. It will be on a community post. That's just the beauty of Week 1, right? There are so many great, interesting games, but I had to talk about this one. We got two of the best teams in the group of 5 round. The South Alabama Jaguars against the Tulane Green Wave. Both of them had double-digit win seasons last year. Before we get started with this one, thank you guys so much for the support on the channel as of late. If you want to continue to show your support, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you know when videos get uploaded. But there are more ways than that you guys can help me support my channel. Hey, you guys are doing one right now by watching the video, and you guys can do more by liking, commenting, sharing, anything else you guys are willing and able to do to help me support my channel would mean a lot to me. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on in. Week 1 predictions are finally going to come to a conclusion, but again, South Alabama and the Tulane Green Wave. Well, I shouldn't say come to a conclusion, right? Again, I'll be previewing some more games and maybe not as much depth on my community tab, but this is one right here that I am so looking forward to watch. Two teams that won 10 games last year. South Alabama probably flew a little bit more under the radar, while Tulane on the national stage won the Cotton Bowl, beat USC after a 2-10 season. They were a big storyline. I think both these teams are going to be really good. This one in New Orleans, Louisiana. Let's look at stats both these teams put up from last season, and we're going to start with the visiting team, and that is the South Alabama Jaguars out of the Sun Belt Conference. Hey, this was one of the Sun Belt's better teams last season. Did not win the conference championship game. They fell behind Troy in the division, so they didn't even make the conference championship game. But this was still a really good team last year. They had a 10-2 regular season before losing to Western Kentucky in their bowl game. But this was a really good offense headlined by Carter Bradley at quarterback, threw for over 250 yards per game. Now, the one thing I want to see this offense do a little bit better this year is limiting pressure to the quarterback, right? They allowed 2 sacks per game last year, not a great number. But when you take a look at this offense, there's a lot to like about it because there is a lot coming back. Carter Bradley, of course, I said, is back at quarterback. He had a phenomenal season for the Jaguars last year, and I think he'll be really good for them again this year. LaDavian Webb is going to be back there as the running back, and you got a really good group of wide receivers highlighted by Devin Voisin, the redshirt senior, and Colin Lacey, the true junior, who's going to play kind of the slot role for this team. So offense is loaded. You got some experience on the offensive line as well. So definitely that sack number maybe should go down this year as well. But when you take a look at the defensive end, guys, this defense was really, really good, especially at stopping the run. Under 100 rush yards per game. They were one of the best rush defenses in the country last year. They forced turnovers. They generated pressure. They were terrific on third down. They didn't allow teams to score. And there's a lot coming back here as well. We're going to start out with the secondary because I think, again, that's one area where you want to see them maybe make those little improvements, right? You want to see them improve that secondary. Allowed 238 pass yards per game. You maybe want to see that get better. Well, you got a lot of experience to help you. Keith Gallman is back. Jaden Voisin is back. Yam Banks. There's a lot of talent in the secondary. And then in the defensive front 6, front 7, Wykevius Thomas, Charles Coleman, James Miller, Trey Kaiser. There's a ton of experience, a ton of talent. South Alabama is one of my favorites, if not the favorite, in the Sun Belt Conference. If you guys know from preseason predictions, I have them winning the Sun Belt Conference because I think this is that good of a football team. They're very experienced. They're very good, and they're going to give Tulane a challenge. Tulane had an amazing season last year after going 2-10 the season prior. Last year was remarkable. 11-2 with a victory in the Cotton Bowl as the Group of 5 champion, and then again, eventually the Cotton Bowl champion. This offense was electric last year, led by Michael Pratt at quarterback. Hey, he is going to be coming back. Now, that 204 rush yards per game, probably going to end up taking a dip as you do lose Tajee Spears from last season, but the pass game should still be prevalent as it was last year. The run game, I still think, is going to be pretty good. We'll be talking about that a lot. That's going to be a big storyline to watch in this game with the Jaguars' run defense versus the run offense of Tulane. But this is the team that could score points, was okay on third down, but also, much like South Alabama, has to limit pressure to the quarterback. I've already mentioned Michael Pratt's name. He comes back at quarterback. Shedro Lewis is a transfer over from Liberty. He comes in to highlight the running back room for this Tulane Green Wave team this year. And then, hey, the wide receiver room, has had a lot of key pieces come back. You are returning a couple, or I should say, you are losing a couple really nice pieces in that wide receiver room, but there's still a lot to like coming back. Lawrence Keys, Jaquan Jackson, Dante Fleming, and Yule Keith Brown are a couple transfers coming in. Fat Watts is still coming back as well. So there is a lot to like for this Tulane Green Wave offense. When we transition over to the defense, though, this defense, the stats may not jump out at the screen at you, right? Especially that rush defense, 152 yards per game. That's not a great number, but they did allow 360 yards per game. That was it. Only 22 points per game. Were pretty good on third down defense there as well. They were able to force turnovers. They generated pressure when they needed to. It was a very effective Tulane Green Wave defense, and, well, this year, they are returning a lot of pieces as well as adding some new ones, especially in the secondary. We'll talk about that when we get there on the defensive front. Guys like Keith Cooper, Patrick Jenkins, Darius Hodges, all those guys are coming back. Linebacker room, Corey Platt, Jesus Machado, as well as some transfers coming in there to play in the second string roles. And then the defensive back room, DJ Douglas, Lance Robinson, Jarius Monroe. Those are some guys coming back. Cam Pettisclo, AJ Hampton, Darius Swanson. A lot of high key profile transfers coming into this Tulane Green Wave defense. And honestly, this is going to be a very well-coached game. These are two very good coaches. You got Kane Womack over there at South Alabama. You got Willie Fritz at Tulane, who has been around the block here and there, right? This is, I think, going to be a phenomenal matchup. Strength on strength is going to be pit here, though, when we talk about the Jaguar rush defense versus the rush offense of the Tulane Green Wave, both of which I'm very excited to watch, which leads me now, if my slide would change, into kind of your what to watch for, right? All right, let's talk about Carter Bradley. Now, for as much talent is on this Tulane defense, it does lose a couple key pieces. I think two very key members of the secondary and two linebackers there as well. So Carter Bradley, I think, is going to attack the defense through the air. Carter Bradley here and there is going to be able to use his legs as well. But again, he's got the wide receiver room to do it. He can rely on his running back in LaDamian Webb to be able to help him out too. They'll be able to help him out a little bit there too. Carter Bradley and this team are going to attack the defense, and they're going to attack it from many different ways. But this is a tough offense to plan for. Switching over to the defensive side of things, Willie Fritz loves to mix things up, and we'll be talking about that more here. So for South Alabama, I'm looking for a bend but don't break defense. That's not at all what they had last year. They had a hard-nosed, tough, just get after them defensive mentality. You maybe can't plan that way here. Tulane is going to be able to mix up looks, and Tulane inevitably is going to score some points. It's going to happen. Tulane is too talented not to. You kind of got to have a little bit of a bend but don't break mentality, but you got to hit them where it hurts as well. So that one kind of a fluctuating key to the game. And then make havoc and pressure in the backfield. Bend but don't break, like, yeah, okay, they're going to score points, but you got to go back, retaliate. Make havoc and pressure. That's something you have to do. You have to be able to slow down this run game. You have to be able to force Michael Pratt into situations that, well, he doesn't like. Maybe he has to throw the football away or has to take a sack as no better option. Create havoc, create pressure. That'll be key. Talking about the Tulane Green Wave, even though Tajee Spears is gone, I think Shedro Lewis is going to do enough to make the ground game effective enough. I do not think he's going to perform up to the level of Tajee Spears, but I do believe that Shedro Lewis will be a very solid running back for this team, and he is going to make the ground game effective enough for Michael Pratt to be able to work. And this is what I was talking about with this Willie Fritz system. He keeps the defense guessing on pass plays, whether they're going to stunt, whether they're going to go, whether they're going to hitch an out route or maybe slant in. It's a very tough passing scheme to plan for here when you're talking about the Willie Fritz offense with the Tulane Green Wave. So you got to keep the defense guessing. Keep mixing up those play calls. Stunt, switch, do anything that you need. I know stunt is like a defensive term, but I'm sure you offensive-minded people know what I mean by that. Keep the defense guessing on pass plays and force third down and longs. This is a South Alabama team that does not perform super well when they have to go a long ways. Now, it can be a very explosive offense, but that's not the way they normally like to do things there. So force third down and longs. That's going to be key on defense. Other than that, create pressure on Bradley, be able to slow down Webb, cover their wide receivers. You should be good to go. This one is going to be a very fun one. In case you're interested and you want to watch this game, it's an 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time game on ESPNU. I highly suggest you tune in. I think it's going to be a very fun, entertaining game. but I can't go against the Tulane Green Wave here. I actually think Tulane is going to cover as well. I got 35-26 as my final score prediction. I think Michael Pratt and this Tulane offense will be a little bit too much for South Alabama's run defense to be able to handle. Well, and I should say the run defense might hold up its end of the bargain, but defense as a whole probably won't be able to handle it, and Tulane's defense will be excellent as it was last year. South Alabama has the offensive weapon to score points, but not enough to keep up with the Green Wave. There are my thoughts on this game. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. That'll do it for week 1 predictions. Look out for community posts talking about some other games, and remember to play hard but tailgate harder. See you guys in the next video. Goodbye.